Welcome back to the channel, guys, and to the epic finale of my fitness journey. Hope you guys learned something, and let's get right to it. Let's go!
So, I come with a very determined mind. I come home to Ottawa. I want to do a bikini competition. That's the goal I set out for myself, because I decide, you know what, if I can accomplish this goal, if I can do this goal, then it's gonna get me on track with the rest of my fitness life. So I decide this is the goal I want to do. So I start working out in the gym. I start training. I think I was doing 5 or 6 days a week. So I start doing that. At the same time, I'm still salsa dancing, so I have a lot going on at once. 2 weeks into me moving to Ottawa, my friends decide to have like a party for me. You know, awesome. I have so much fun seeing everyone, like childhood friends. At the end of the party, my friend is like, you know, why don't we go out to a club? I hadn't gone clubbing in a while, so I said, awesome, let's go. I'm dancing. All of a sudden, in my knee, in my left knee, I hear like a pop. I'm like, that's weird. And it kind of sounds like, for those you've been to a chiropractor, you know when your chiropractor kind of cracks you? Kind of sounds like that. So I thought, okay, so maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's just like my knee letting out air. I don't know. It's nothing. So I just keep dancing, thinking that it's nothing. And all of a sudden, I hear pop, pop. Then I'm like, okay, I'm in pain. Something is going on. Right away, I can feel my knee kind of like stiffen up. I feel almost like a swelling, literally right away. And I decide I need to sit down. So I sit down for a little bit, thinking it's nothing serious. We finish out the night. We walk home on my messed up knee. For those of you who know anything about ligaments or your body, let me just say, when your knee makes a really loud pop or crack like that, it's not a good sign. So end up walking home on it. We walk all the way to my friend's house. I wake up the next morning with a huge swollen knee, and I'm like, okay, I need to go home. I need to ice it. It's gonna be fine. It'll be fine. Ice it. I'm sitting on the couch thinking everything's gonna be okay. You know, 2 days goes by, still not getting better. It's ridiculously swollen. I'm like, okay, what is going on? I end up calling my chiropractor up in Toronto, and I say, Melanie, something's wrong with my knee. You know, this is the situation. This is what happened. I've been icing it, but something's not right. Send her pictures, explain the whole story. And she goes, Joanna, I think you did something very serious to your knee. And I go, okay, what do you think happened? And she's like, I think you either tore your ACL or you tore your meniscus. And I didn't know what that meant. So I started looking up on the computer to see what it meant. And it's not a very good thing. It's not a very good thing when that happens. So I'm like, oh my God, this is really serious. I need to see a specialist. I end up Googling like a sports specialist. Takes a while to get in to see him. Takes about, I believe, about 2 months or a month to see him. Get in to see him. He looks at my knee. He goes, I think you might have tore your meniscus. You might have done further damage. Let's get an MRI just to see what you actually did. The whole thing was going on, like my knee injury. I had gotten a job at Good Life, which was freaking awesome, and I start learning a lot about fitness, and I start learning about nutrition. I start learning about just the fitness world and different fitness philosophies. So I get in to see my specialist about my knee. I get the MRI done. He gets the results. He calls me in and he sits me down and he's like, you did something very serious to your knee. He goes, you partially tore the ACL and you did a small tear in your meniscus. He said, the small tear in your meniscus I'm not really worried about, because that's not too bad, but I am worried about the tear in your ACL, the partial tear in your ACL. He's like, there's really 2 options. Basically, it might one day fully tear, or it might one day just kind of heal, and you know, still the caution might always be there, but if you heal it properly and strengthen your hamstrings, your quads, you might be fine. He's like, I don't really want to put you through knee surgery because it's not to the point where it's so bad, but one day if you're not careful, it could get to the point where it does get really that bad. He said, there's one thing you need to do. He knew that I was a dancer, that I danced a lot. One of my goals, the reasons I moved to Toronto, was because I wanted to dance more and eventually compete at like one of the world salsa congresses as a soloist. He said to me, here's the thing, Joanna. you can't dance anymore, at least not for quite a while. And the reason why is because when you have a knee injury, like a tear or a tear in your meniscus, the pivotal movement in dance could be the last thing that will fully tear it and ruin it completely, because dance is a pivotal type of movement. I listened to him, but it didn't really sink in. I was like, oh, okay, it'll be fine. I don't think it's that serious. Stupid me in denial. So I keep dancing. It didn't really sink in at all. I'm working at Good Life this whole time. When you start working at Good Life, you get a couple free sessions with a personal trainer. So I train with one of the trainers there, and I tell him the whole story about everything that happened, and he's the one who kind of really drills it into my head about the fact how I can't dance. He makes me realize how serious it is. Okay, I'll just stop dancing. I end up leaving Good Life because the hours are too crazy for me, and I'm not able to have like a stable like balance between life and work. So I end up leaving Good Life. I work a couple places here and there. I'm trying to work out to strengthen, my knee injury. But again, consistency, I'm not consistent in the gym. My eating habits are still really bad. I'm still consuming a lot of sugar, and I'm going through all of this, and I kind of just fall into a really, really deep depression at the time. It was really bad for quite a few months. I was in a very dark place. I can't even describe to you guys what a hard time it was in my life. I couldn't find a job. I didn't know a lot of people in Ottawa. The change from a big city, a big, busy metropolitan city, to a smaller city that is, they're only 5 hours apart, but they're two very, very different, distinct cities, was very difficult for me. I decided I'm going to take a trip to Toronto to kind of lift my spirits and kind of see my old friends and just talk to them and see if I can get myself out of this depression. I end up going to Toronto. One of my closest friends, Melissa, picks me up at the subway stop when I arrive there. I start telling her the whole story. She asks me how I am, and I just start bawling my eyes out and bawling and bawling and bawling. And she goes, I've never seen you like this. She had only seen me as a person who was super confident, outgoing, bubbly, always Miss Positive, but I was in a really dark place at that time. End up coming back to Ottawa. I find a job, a pretty good job, kind of lifts my spirits for a little bit, start working out a little bit again. Still not consistent, my eating habits are still really bad. I end up going back to Toronto for the Salsa Congress, and at this point, this is October, this is when I realized, okay, something has to change in my life. I clearly need someone's help because I can't do it by myself, and I need to hire someone to help me through this, to help me make healthy changes, help me believe in myself again, help me find strength again. And this is kind of where Gio comes in. So Gio, I knew him through the salsa community for quite a while. I was good friends, like a group of us, we were all friends. I knew he was a personal trainer. I knew he knew a lot about fitness, nutrition, had worked in a lot of gyms, had a background in kinesiology, so the guy knew his shit. So we're at the Salsa Congress, I'm asking him questions about fitness, about nutrition, and just kind of shooting the shit. When I come back is when I realize I need to hire someone, and I think about that for a while, and I think, personal trainer, I can't really afford it right now, but I could definitely do online coaching. So I decide, what, I'm gonna reach out to Gio because I know him, he knows me. End up reaching out to Gio, and he goes, yeah, for sure, I'll definitely help you out. I'll make you a plan. I'm gonna make you a 3-month plan. I'm like, okay, awesome. I tell him about my knee injury. He's like, great, we're gonna strengthen that. That's really important. We're gonna do workouts that won't hurt your knee even worse. I'm like, awesome. Start the fitness program. First month, gonna be honest, I don't really see a lot of results. It's my fault. I don't really set any sort of goals. I don't write down I don't change my eating habits. I'm following the workouts, but I don't really do the mental work that I need to do. Month 2 comes around, and I'm like, you know what, I need to do this seriously, I need to take this seriously. I decide to sit down and really write down my goals and why I want to achieve those goals. That's something that I want to talk about in the next video, about that mental aspect and why that is so important. I decide to write down my goals. I do it all. I purchase a fitness journal. Month 2, month 3, I go hard on the fitness program he gives me. I do everything to a T. I change my eating habits. I even do a sugar cleanse, because at the time I needed to cleanse my body of all these processed sugars, because I had been consuming so much processed sugar in my life, my whole life, that I had become addicted to it, and I needed to do something. So month 2 comes around, I'm seeing amazing results. My stomach completely flats out, lose a lot of back fat, my butt starts to perk up. It's just crazy. Month 3, I'm seeing even better results. So I'm starting to build kind of this strength in me that I never knew I had. It's what I always tell people is the stronger I get physically, the stronger I became mentally. And while this whole thing happened, that strength training program and building strength kind of took me out of my depression, because it made me realize what I'm capable of again, and how to believe in myself. The fact that Gio was there beside me, if I had a question, if I had a concern, even to this day, I still will message him sometimes when I have a question, and he's always there for me. And that's what I needed at that point. I needed someone to kind of guide me and help me with my plan, and I needed to get serious about my goals and why I wanted to achieve them. Because for a long time, I didn't know what I wanted. I just kind of drifted from gym to gym, doing what trainers told me, but not really evaluating my personal goals or why I wanted to achieve those goals, not looking in the future. Now looking back, I think I wanted everything right now, right away. I wanted it quick and fast. And when I wouldn't see results, within a couple weeks, I would just give up because I thought this was useless. It was Gio who helped me to understand that it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take, weeks, months, years. And now I realize that I'm constantly going to be striving towards new goals. I'm going to be 60 years old and still have new fitness goals. And that's how it should be, guys. Nothing's going to come to you overnight. Slow and steady speed, where you're going to see the results. Consistency is key. And those little things that you do every single day is what's going to make the difference in the long term. And Gio was the person who made me realize that for me, because I didn't realize that for a long time. I'll tell you guys much about my nutrition. In terms of my diet, what I did is I just stuck to whole natural foods. I stuck to everything that's obvious. I ate things that I knew that were good for me, stayed away from things that I knew that were bad for me. Really as simple as that. When I first started out with my fitness, I didn't follow an actual calories or counted macros or any sort of plan. I just stuck to what I knew was good for me. I will mention that I did injure my knee again. It didn't happen in the gym. It happened when I tried to go dance, funny enough. The thing is though, when I injured my knee again, it was a tear in my meniscus, just a further tear in my meniscus. I didn't fall into that deep depression again. And the reason why I tell people is because mentally I was a lot stronger. Like I've always said, the stronger I get physically, I swear to you, the stronger you will get mentally. I promise you. There's such a mental aspect to fitness that people don't realize. And the second time I injured my knee, I was ready. I was okay. I was in a very positive mind frame, and I recovered like this. I was back in the gym, working out my legs about, I think, a month and a half, 2 months later, building up the strength again in my hamstrings and my quads. And I made sure I saw my specialist, and he said, a month after my knee injury, he said, your knee is looking fantastic. Keep doing what you're doing. Stay away from dance. Looking back now, I realized that my knee injury, at the time when it first happened, I was so depressed. I went into such a deep depression, and it was really hard for me. And I thought it was the worst thing that could ever happen to me in the world. But now, almost a year later since my injury, and almost a few months later since re-injuring it, I realize now that it was the best thing that ever happened to me. And that might sound really weird, but the reason I say that is because it forced me to stop making excuses for myself, because it forced me to work out to strengthen my hamstrings, my quads, my glutes, so that this injury wouldn't happen again. It kind of forced me to kind of take everything out of my life, prioritize my fitness life because of this injury. That whole thing I went through, the whole depression, in the end, it really made me a stronger person. It made me realize that I could accomplish my goals, I could accomplish my dreams, whatever they were. And I'm really, really thankful to Gio for his help, for his guidance, for being there for me through that whole time. And he was even there for me when my knee injury happened again. But this time I was so physically, mentally strong that it didn't even faze me. Hope that you guys can learn from my story. I want you guys to understand, first and foremost, you're not going to accomplish your goals until you sit down and you really evaluate your goals and why you want to achieve those goals. When it comes to your fitness life, slow and steady speed is what's going to win the race long term. When you're starting out, you don't need to be going to the gym, going crazy, 6-7 days a week. Start off easy and slow, and when you do that, it'll be easier for you to get into a schedule of going more regularly. When I was doing the fitness program with Gio, the first month, he had me going 3 times a week. And when he set that up originally, I thought it was because he thought I couldn't do it. I couldn't go, 4 or 5 days a week. I always thought I had to go 4 or 5 days a week to really see my fitness goals. But the reason I think he did that, and I think that's why, what ended up happening, was because he wanted me to get used to the environment. He wanted me to feel comfortable. He wanted me to get used to going 3 days a week. So later on, 4 days a week, 5 days a week wouldn't really seem a lot, because later on he did up it to 4 days a week, 5 days a week. Now I go to the gym 6 days a week, sometimes 7, and it's super easy to me. I love the gym. It has become my life. I'm pursuing it like a career. I have this channel going up. I'm super passionate. I'm super passionate about fitness and nutrition. I hope that you can learn from some of my mistakes that I made with not taking my fitness life seriously, with not really evaluating with my goals, kind of drifting from gym to gym, not seeking help and guidance. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to mess up. But, if you need help, if you need guidance, go out there and ask for it. My whole hope of starting this YouTube channel is I'm hoping that you guys will learn from the mistakes that I've made in the past, or maybe mistakes that will be coming up. But I hope that you guys can learn from this channel always and grow. There's such a mental aspect to fitness, and it's definitely not talked about enough. And it was only until I was ready to conquer my mind that I conquered my physical being. We do see a lot of these quotes on Instagram, but it's totally true, guys. You need to conquer your mind if you want to conquer your physical being, if you want to conquer your fitness life, or really if you want to conquer any goals in life. Your mind is going to be your worst enemy. You have to believe in yourself, and you have to know that you can do it. Next video is going to be how to set fitness goals, which I'm very excited to share with you guys, because that ties into this video on the mental aspect about fitness and how to conquer your mind. Okay, so I will see you guys in the next video. Hopefully my hair is not too messy. That's it. Bye.
Congratulations, guys. You made it to the end of the video. You know what that means. It's time to like the video. You made it to the end. You might as well. Please remember to subscribe to the video. New videos are every Monday and Thursday. Subscribe, comment, share, and like. I will see you in the next one. Peace.